I don't know what to tell you. It's Friday, the beginning of a 3 day work week. Work week? 3 day weekend. 3 day work week. So, excuse me, as always, got up early. Um, and now I'm going to do some gaming. So, this is going to be short. What we do want to do is put on a hat because, hey, Lady B. Hey, William. Good to see you in the chat. So, yeah, the whole system is falling apart. People are being charged with sedition. The Democrats are openly talking about primarying Joe Biden, right? Openly talking about replacing the vice president. So there's conversation about replacing the vice president and the president. I'm feeling extra smug because I was completely against both of these yaks since like the first. So, oh my gosh, now everybody's got buyer's remorse. So I wonder how it's going to play out because the Republicans are between you, me, and the wallpaper, uh, a flaming bag of poo. Yeah, they don't seem to want to do anything other than be aggressive with the Democrats and and complain that they're the victim of something. Meanwhile, perpetual wars and falling infrastructure, it's on all of them. It's on the politicians, not the or the Republican It's on the politicians. People can't. People don't want these bullshit jobs you backed them into over the last 50 years, right? You can't find truck drivers. I heard something that's crazy that truck drivers don't get paid if they're not driving. So if it takes them 4 or 5 hours to load your truck, you get to sit around at the depot and not get paid for that. And if you want to make up the time, you can because you have to sleep a certain amount of hours on the road and all this. They're just to make it hard to make a living. And now everybody's angry at them. Let's check the chat. Who would you want to see as president and vice president? That is a good question. NYP arrest guy who shot a girl working at Burger King in the head, killing her. Yeah, that's New Zealand gives the same. Yeah, look, we're gonna get around to random crime and stupid people in a minute, William. But we're gonna talk politics for a second. Who would you? First of all, me and Ted talk about this all the time. The Democrats don't have a deep bench, so they do all this talking about the Republicans, and you know, yeah, they don't have a deep bench. They don't. They have a cadre of failed child actors who they run for Congress in an assortment of shades, so they can pop one out and go talk to the black people, go talk to the Latin X people, my favorite. They're still using that, even though all the Latin people are like, "Don't call us that." They're still using it. It's like the American Indians going, "Yeah, don't use Redskins for that team name. That's horrible." And their team going, "Yeah, go fuck yourself. We're still gonna use it." And then 10 years later, they finally take it off last year. Not even last year. It was like 8 months ago. It was. It's coming up on a year. But how about American Asians? American Asians have a hard road. I mean, you have to know American history and the groups within it, right? Who did what? Who um, right? So all this kind of stuff. So the American, I'm gonna open up a kettle of fish here. The American Asian identity uh, has several things going against it, right? One of which is we kind of fought wars with all these people, right? And people hold grudges. Um, Famously, Senator McCain, who was a POW, made that G word reference about Viet Congs, right? But it dies hard. Uh, yeah, here, I think everybody. It depends on uh, your environment. right? I don't know what the Asian issue is in England, right? I don't know what it is in France or I know that there's in this. So you're from New Zealand, so I went to Australia years ago, and I know that they have an issue. Not an issue. That sounds like they have, but there's some. I can't. I don't even want to call it tension. But like all different groups in a place, there's some frictions about some things. But they come straight from like China, oddly enough. Uh, let's see, but there's no way to make good money without already having money. How about American agent? Politics is really messy. Yeah, politics is supposed to be the art of the possible, and these people just kind of like get there and make it um, Animal Farm by Orwell, right? Where they're like, we know exactly what we're doing. Don't worry about it. You guys go sit over there and we'll tell you what's. This whole pandemic thing, we can't even talk about the pandemic. But this whole pandemic thing is just shows where the rot in our system is. Um, it's why three people America talks about is white, black, and Latino. Yeah, New Zealand is white, brown, Indian, brown, but never Asian. Well, hold on. Well, let's not make this about the Asians. You're going off and you're running a rant in the chat here. So let's be clear. Let me tell you about American history with Asians. All right, as it played out here, because I don't know how it played out anyplace else. I don't know the tensions between tribes or any of that. So here, um, there were no Asians in this country up until what up, Tony? There were no Asians in America up until after the Civil War, right? When they were recruited from China to build the railroad. And that was the first. So we had a congressman here talking about how Asians helped build this country in the Civil War. And I instantly was triggered. And I went on this long rant and got into it with like a couple of people. Where was that? But I had to go and check. And this is why I'm doubly sure about like not getting a strike or being called a racist or anything. Because so those people then got screwed over because of racist America, right? But the people from that group have been here forever. Right now, you opened up immigration, and I want to say the 30s to everybody. 30s of it might have been late. It might have been like the 50s, where you were allowing people from India to come here, and Pakistan, to Afghanistan, and Africa, right, and China, right. But they weren't in the country generally up until then. So I mean, in a place where you have a systematic and endemic abuse of a group of people, you invite other groups of people in, and it causes problems, right? But the history of that is not only did it cause problems with people that whose neighborhood they moved into, as always the immigrant story is, right, struggle of the new people versus the old people. Now, not only was there an issue with that, there was also an issue with all these wars we fought with these Asian countries, and all these military people live in every place, instantly not liking them, right? Not liking me is different. I remind you of something that you did, right? Versus you told me to have go to this place and fight this war, and they were the communists, Chinese, or the this or the that or the whatever, and now everybody gets to live next door to me. I don't get it. So you had all this kind of tension. That's the story here in a nutshell. I mean, obviously it's super way more complicated than that. But I mean, that's a low. I thought the Maori descended from the ancients. Well, you're not wrong. There's a lot of talk about like who were the wayfarers who navigated by the stars, like Hawaiians, not so much the Hawaiians. Who were they? They made a movie. The Disney made a movie about them. But the idea that those people went every place, like just in the warm waters of the South, they went sort of every place. And thank you, the Polynesians. And they think that they landed on the east side because some people are like, I'm gonna overthrow the king. Oh yeah, you and your once we get, and then like, oh, let's get on this boat and find another island. So they think, and some people got lost. They think that the people on Easter Island were blown either set off to start something new, or were blown off course because they don't understand why. you would stay on Easter Island. It had no trees. And they used everything, right? So eventually they used the last tree because it was a fucking island. And every day there are, men and women will do what men and women do, and every day there are more people. So eventually they ate up everything on the island and killed themselves off. They're essentially doing what the Chinese are doing, but the Chinese are trying to move into Africa and got a stranglehold, I think, economically on like the EU. So the world is going to be a really interesting place. Plus, you see like what your country tells you, like American again. I'm talking about with the Asian community. What your country tells you about other people as you're perpetually at war with them. Then all of a sudden they come here. Some of that stuff is still in the surface. It's not like it's just going to be gone. It's still in the system. People go, oh, the what did I hear when I was a kid? Um, about Asian food, right? They eat dogs and all this stuff. It's the same thing that was said about soul food, right? You attack the people for the thing. Oh, look, they dress weird. Why the women dress like that, or why the guy have an afro like that? Why look at that weird food they're eating? It's sushi. It's raw food. That's disgusting. Oh, look at that over there. They eating collard greens. What's wrong with those people? That's disgusting, right? Even when the Jews came here, right? What's matzo ball soup? What is that? Everybody. So these are the lumps. But again, I don't know how it plays out in other places. Uh, your app just crashed. Oh, I'm sorry, I was running off at the mouth. So yeah, it's Friday. Um, but look, man, no matter what, some people are gonna not like you. So I take it like this: 7 billion people on the planet. You ain't gotta like me. I'm adorable, motherfucker. Someone else will like me. So how you doing, Tony? Are you still in the chat? I hope you're all right. But a lot of people don't understand the difference. And to be honest, it's not really up to other people to understand you. They're not your parents, right? It is up to other people to get out of your face, right? Let me do my thing and not you and your government agency or whatever prevent me from doing whatever I might want to do. You know, so that's what you want. But some people are just judgmental, and you should have a fairly thick skin, right? Because in some of these Middle East countries, you can't go, "Psst, the president's an idiot," without having your door kicked in and arrested and spending like the next 4 years in jail under torture because what you said about the president or the royal family or whoever. And that's I mean, there's a place worse than that. North Korea, where you bet not have a cell phone with any Western anything on it. They executed that guy who smuggled in Squid Games. Executed him. Yep. But this is what happens, right? This is how the West fell in Europe. What they did was first you couldn't have blue jeans. And first of all, blue jeans are freaking awesome, for God's sakes. You couldn't have blue jeans. It was Western decadence. But all the rich uh, Soviets had like all this American shit, whiskey and cigars, and it's always. And this is what we have now. Like here in America, just rampant corruption at the top, while they tell you to be more patriotic and eat more water soup. Meanwhile, they're having like steak as thick as like a fucking I don't know what is thick. Like you know I don't know, a phone book. Let's slide this over because I'm halfway in frame, halfway out of frame. So look, the whole thing is just not to be taken advantage of by snakes and charlatans, right? People with most of the power are apt to be corrupted by it because then they write laws where here's a law. It's not bribery if you give me money to think about. Now they're all super rich, but they're men of the people. Shut up. And now everybody's mad. So now you have to write laws to make sure you can put all the people who disagree with you in jail as insurgents or whatever, right? Here's the thing about that sedition charge yesterday here in America. You've been chasing your enemy's allies since the last election. This looks like more of that, right? This looks like more of that. Five guys, nine guys, including him, right? But here's the thing: you watch these people do this at countless police protests, and you had no problem with it. Now all of a sudden the FBI is going to set up a domestic terrorism unit. Fucking, why did you set this up when what's his name blew up the Moore Federal Building and killed all those agents and babies? They had a babysitting service there for the federal employees' children. Why did you set it up then? All these murders of black people. Why didn't you set it up then? Blowing up churches, walking into churches, shooting up the joint, killing non-parishioners. Why didn't you set it up then? Because you didn't give a fuck. You were too busy shoving money in your pocket. Then all of a sudden they showed up at your doorstep on January 6th talking about killing some of y'all. Now all of a sudden we have to take it seriously because it's our necks on the line. But in order for us to do that, we need you to keep us in power for the next. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not voting for you. I look. I didn't vote for Trump the last time, just like I didn't vote for Clinton. I said this. This time around, when Trump comes to town, I'm voting for him, just so he can do what he did the last time and put his finger in your eye. Right? That's what it was. I used to be motivated to vote for a principle. I was never motivated to vote for a person. Right? Now I feel like you know what. And I tell people all the time, we were not allowed to vote, and they use that guilt on you. Like, how dare you not? You were the one who denied me the right to vote in the first place. Now you're gonna guilt me so I can vote for you? Get the fuck out of here. It's your right to vote or not to vote. I tell people it's your right to stay home if you don't like the pool, or vote for the people that you do like on the ballot and leave everything else empty. Or this guilting you so they can sit there for 50 years while the whole place goes to shit and then talk about what the people have been complaining about the environment and how bad it's been since the 60s. I remember when I was a boy, they had the famous crying Indian about not littering, throwing stuff out the go. We I said this on this pod before. Two things stand out in my mind as a kid. Seatbelts. I remember that campaign, and I pestered me and my little sister, my little brother, pestered my father every time we got in the car about seatbelts. That and littering. To this day, I don't litter. When I chew gum, I keep the wrapper, put in the wrapper. I'll hold stuff until I pass a trash can. That kind of shit works, especially when you're little. It's not like I had anything else to do other than absorb this information about littering. You could do that same thing, right? And you could end racism and sexism in like 30 years. Literally 30 to 40 years, right? Because the older people will die out. Maybe 40 to 50. But the older people will die out. But they keep making you act like every not you, but like they act like everybody wanted to be uh you know, a wage slave driving buses or trucks at 3 in the morning and not being away from the family. They kept people out of colleges and then they skated their kids through. And now you have this environment. It's not just a January 6th thing you need to look at. You need to look at the whole thing as a whole. You need to look at the police shootings. You need to look at rape in the workplace, which was ridiculous, as well as women pimping themselves in the workplace, right? You need to look at politicians and where they get the money from, corporate, right, versus from the people. And then they'll take money from foreign groups as they're in charge of. I mean, it's the whole environment. Look at the education system. I mean, people to get an education, it should cost you I said this before. It costs you a nice car. I get 25, 30, 40, $100,000. Yeah, I get that. But costing you 200, half a million is bullshit. And then you find out that their business isn't education. Education is the commodity that they sell. They're business people, right? They're not in the business to educate you. They're in the business to make money. And what they sell you is education. Look, and now like everything that you hack, it's one hack too many. The system is breaking, and the people who broke it can't be allowed to fix it or rein it in, or we went too far. We stole too much money from the bank. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll put some of it. No, and we'll see what happened. All right, let's check the chat. Um, shot a girl in the head at Burger King. It's man, people are just fucking stupid. Um, and I blame a lot of these stupid broken boys on their mothers, right? I think a lot of fathers could have prevented some of this shit, and not all men are so bad that But the song is always, you know, it's the men's fault. Choose. Your kids need role models and things to do. And if you're the single parent and you have no one to go, I don't think that's right. I remember being a kid and my mom telling me stuff and my dad going, "Don't tell him that." Right? My dad was a boy at one point, right? so so that makes sense. And I remember my dad not wanting my sisters to do stuff. My mom was like, "Stop it. They're not young girls anymore. They're young women." And you're right. So you have somebody else going, "Oh, I guess, yeah." You make all these super emotional, ridiculous people. And I think here's how I've seen it work. You tell somebody, you're the best and no one better than you and you're the best, and they really do believe that, and then they grow up and everybody treats them like you're just fucking common knuckleheadness and get out of here. And then they begin to get angry about the world because no one realizes that I'm the best and before you know it, they're walking around either with a chip or with this hateful attitude of the environment. When what you should be considering is just the history of the place and the people, and how more allies is a plus and it's not a negative. All right, let's look at the channel. The world for understanding poverty. Yeah, people. Everyone's got. What is going on with this? Is that how this works? I guess that's how this works. Um, if you understand wealth, you become threat. If you understand poverty, you struggle for normality. No, I think what it is it's always been corrupt, right? It's always been the European system is corrupt, and we're based on the European system, right? So what it took to stop the European system and people to be able to like not be essentially indebted to like some landowner, you couldn't even leave the land. It was essentially sharecropping, 500-600 years ago. Was the plague. Now the people who had all the money didn't have anybody to pick the cotton or grow the land, and then eventually some enough people died that all this land lay fallow everywhere, and then eventually regular people were able to go, hey, maybe I'll buy a farm or something, and the lords were happy to have it. We need other forms of income because we can't keep people. Because normally, if the people got uprising, you would just go get your army and put them down. They had no training, they had no weapons. Now your army is dying too, right? Remember what happened with the Black Plague? The Pope left. He went to his giant castle away from all the people, where he sat for 6 years while everybody died. That church, man, that church is just the shit that goes on. A tiny island group wants to combat a huge issue supposedly created by a bigger nature with more land mass and population. Yeah, is New Zealand bad for the climate thing? I think. Look, I don't. Some countries. So man, some people, some places are going to be gone. You know, like I want to say the Maldives and like Micronesia and Macronesia as well, right? All these tiny little atolls, right? Um, but New Zealand has mountains. You're gonna lose some shoreline. Like we're gonna lose. I'm here in Virginia. We're gonna lose Virginia. We're gonna lose parts of New York and New Jersey. All the places that were part of the founders walking around going democracy, democracy, democracy is gonna be underwater, right? But we're hoping that we got enough of the country left to to wander about in it. But there's also a giant volcano under like 4 states in the middle of the country. Don't worry, if that shit goes off, it's not just America that's gone. It's everybody. It's one of those stupid volcanoes. Um, so yeah, it's the environment is lush with stupidity. It's right with incompetence. Um, Possibly, probably. That sounds right. In the past, however, money buys anything now. People are stupider than they were. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. We're still animals, man, right? And everything ends. I just said the Black Plague came around and upended shit, right? So I'm not saying that this is that, but I'm just saying some wild thing can happen. It was running smoothly for all these aristocrats in Europe, and then the global war broke out, and it was the end of them. That was, I mean, there are no at the 19 at the beginning of the 19th century, 1900s, 1900s, Europe was full of kings and dukes and earls and barons. Now the only people who have kings are England, Norway, Sweden. Right? There's a royalty in Sweden, Norway, England. There's several Scandinavian countries, England, and then you have the Muslim countries like the Shah and not the Shah, but the well, they're not really. They're like a royal family, but they're also like a pope family. They all get to be sheikhs, right? In Saudi Arabia. So yeah, the whole thing is. I mean, the whole thing is shift. Like Saudi Arabia is walking around. They don't make anything, but they have oil. So once somebody goes, "Hey, I made this thing that converts this into a fuel that you can use, and the waste is water that goes back into the environment, right? It's zero, and people don't think, and then that ends them because they don't make anything. Here's the thing about America: you may criticize us completely. People don't know stuff on the street. That's true. It's their right to be stupid, but other people will crawl into the minutia of an idea, right? And you can't do that in other places. Thinking differently will get you hung, right? And it's different, like, and that's the thing about thinking differently. You don't always approve of it, so people just shut down. I don't want the government to, and then they don't make any interesting anything, whether it's art or music, or movies or paintings or interesting dishes, fashion, right? We're just a creative bomb over here, right? But we're also a bomb over here. Just because super creative, but we also have like the world's third largest population, right? And that's, yeah, China has 1 billion people who are all unhappy with China, quite frankly. India has 1 billion people, and they got, India is a whole different mess. Uh, and we have 350 million people. Africa would be big, but Africa's not a nation. I think the biggest place in Africa may have 20 million people. So if you stuck them all together, Africa would have 1 billion and I want to say 1.5 billion people. But there's only 60 million English people. I think there's 20 million Australian people. I don't know how many New Zealanders there are. But this is why when people want America on the side in the fight, because, one, we like to fight, I hate to say it. And we also like to create creative shit. And it's not just art and TV and rap music, right? We create the interesting bombs that everybody goes, we have to come up fucking fake, make one of those. The idea of night vision goggles, right? Revolutionized war that other people are like, we're not even going to go fucking face the Americans at night. We can't see them without, flashlights. And then, of course, what did we do? We sold it to everybody because greed is God in America. Not greed is king, greed is God in America, right? China almost failed, but we started letting them make our shit and putting money in our enemy's pocket. That's America. Even to this day, though, China had better watch its ass because, like I just said, we produce more than they do. And I don't mean like 1,000 Lego blocks. I mean we'll produce 1,000 different types of Legos. And they may say, well, we don't need that many, but they couldn't come up with that many if they had to, right? We're a better to have it and not need it kind of society than they are. And on top of that, we'll all fight. I think we like to fight. We'll fight each other. We'll help you fight your war. We're fucking ridiculous. And I think the Chinese don't want to fight. They talk about 1 billion people, but a lot of those people don't want to be under the fucking Communist Party. I think just like Saddam Hussein, once the Americans come, other people will start fucking throwing rocks at China from within the tent because they've killed off a lot of. They had essentially a prime minister, a president that they threw in jail for and gave him 80 years because he wanted to modernize the place. Right? The Soviet Union fell that way. Right? Changed the flag and the name and still doing the same bullshit. All right. Yeah, those people are ridiculous. Um, don't know if they want to repopulate. Kids are fucking awesome. You're supposed to fight it out. Life has always been hard. People just want a million excuses to just, you know, complain about pretty nice things. Children are wonderful. Love and loyalty is wonderful. What is going on with this thing? All right, we are still animals. Yeah. And I mean, look, like all this stuff going on with this Me Too movement at work, people act like women don't hit on men, and like it turned used to be seduction. Right now, there's this narrative of I just got out of the nunnery and I went to work, and all of a sudden I was so set upon. And like I said on this podcast, some women had better come out and start standing up for your behavior at work, and you're not the victim that you're screaming to be. Because it's beginning to look like, oh my God, we can't let these women out of the house. We must protect the women because and that's it. Some of this is bullshit, and you're not allowed to say it because you'd be mansplaining. But there needs to be some women who go that like that whole thing. Believe all women. I was like, that is the most ridiculous shit ever. People lie. Women lie too. And you not believing a woman does not mean you're sexist or pro anything bad. But that's the mind fuckery. How do you not believe all women? So yeah, we'll see. Uh yeah, people are quicker to shut each other down than to build each other up. But man, we're not. I say about this country, we're all so different that we all need to be on the same page about something, and now we're not, and that's a problem. And we only understand the idea of individualism more than a team. 5 million New Zealanders. That's it. Wow. I mean, America creates influences for the world. Yeah, I mean, but see, I mean, it wasn't always America, right? At one point, it was France, right? People just looked at France, the food and the clothes and the Eiffel Tower, and this was like eight. This was not 1,000 years ago. This was like 1890, right? Our industrial revolution didn't kick off until after we got not even we got a navy, but after the Maine blew up, and Teddy Roosevelt thought we should have a navy, and that was like the 1910s. Till then, it was still England, it was Paris, and it was Germany, which is why the war took place in fucking Paris and Germany and in England, right? They bombed England. These England got bombed, Germany got bombed. Did they bomb France? I don't know if they bombed France. Marched all over the Netherlands. This is what they did for 1,000 years. You know what changed all that? America. America changed all that. And I think at some point people were like, fucking tired of war, right? Look what's going on there. Everybody wanted to leave Europe to go to America. Everybody. Whether you were Italian or French or English, or the one thing all Europeans had in common was they wanted to leave. So those governments had to really look at it. Are we gonna lock our borders? Are we gonna fucking mitigate some of this stuff and let stuff go? So yeah, we're all very Western now, but I think people don't give America enough credit for its influence. Hey, Jazzy Man. Oh, we love the Canadians. Um, so yeah, we even come on, we're Americans. We invaded Canada. uh, that's a story we don't hear a lot down here. When I heard that story, I was like, we invaded Canada and we got beat back by a lady. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah, and that's the magic about like when you listen to other people, other nations' stories and their heroes, right? It's just good shit. It really is just good stuff. There was a point where Canadians were considered American peacekeepers. America's peace. Why? How many Canadians are there? Let's take a look. I'm guessing it's got to be smaller than England, right? England is about 60 million. If California, if excuse me, if Australia is, I'm guessing 25 million, and you told me New Zealand is 5 million. I'm guessing. I don't want to look at the screen because I don't want anybody to tell me. I'm guessing Canada is there's 60 million. Canada has to be 30 million people. How many people are in Canada? Did someone put it in the chat so I don't have to look it up? Not yet. So we're gonna look up how many people. How many people in Canada? What's the Canadian population? 38 million. What did I say? Yeah, giant landmass, all under ice. Which here's the thing: Africa used to not have a desert, right? Um, the last time it was really like cool, it was cool and cold here, but Africa was a desert. No, Africa was like a paradise. You could walk across the Sahara. So when it snows someplace like you can't ski in places that's normally skiable, but there's green grass in it, right? So it'll be flooding in Brooklyn. You can't live there anymore. But now you can like walk across. Well, Africa is still a wild place. There's lions, tigers, and bears, but they can easily do what we did here. Grizzly bears are ferocious. We dealt with them. We dealt with the wolves who deal in packs, and wolves are big, right? Wolves are fucking ginormous. Like wolves weigh like 200 pounds. They're giant animals. They're not like your dog. Two wolves will finish you off. Um, so yeah, well, like all these giant beasts. What else was here in America that we had to deal with? Alligators, like nice, like some places didn't have any of this stuff. I wonder if there was any giant. Well, no, right? Because human population had been running through England and Scotland and Germany forever. So yeah, they probably killed off all the big whatever that might have been there, like pre-antiquity, right? Before anybody knew what writing was, and when people wore, I'm about to say loincloths, like this is Africa, this is Europe, when it's where it's cold, and so people were probably wearing furs of bears, right? Um, yeah, those are the ones that made it. Can you imagine all these people walked out of Africa? You may have had 500 people, then the first snows hit, lose half your population. They're talking about the human population dwindled down to 2,000 people. 2,000 people in a little tiny little pod of Africa someplace. So maybe there was like 9 or 10 groups of like, 80 people a piece, or maybe it was smaller, right? In the whole world. And then they came, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Um, but let's see if we can get it together to get off this planet. California has 40 million people and Canada has 38. Australia has 25.6. Huh. Yeah, bad American student. I should know the provinces of Canada and I don't. Are there seven? Yeah, all this stuff that I should know that I don't. Uh, a small problem but a huge landmass. Yeah, I wouldn't say that they. Yeah, I would say that. I love some of those. I love a good caveman movie. Like if you're ever gonna write a screenplay, I'm gonna help you out here. Right. The three general stories are um, man against man. Right. Me and Possible probably are in a fight to win the boxing championship or in a war to take over the galaxy. Right. This guy versus that guy and his army. But right. For of will, man against man. Other one is man against environment, right? Man against nature. Uh, what's that movie where he crashed on an island? Castaway, right? It's him against the island. It's trying to find water and survive, right? Yeah, that like so that's what it's man against man, man against nature, and man against himself, right? So it's you not trying to go crazy in prison or be broken by the warden, right? Actually, that's man against man. Just trying to keep your wits about you and get back to like So this is where people find the most interest in like the stories, and most of the stories are generally like that, right? Ghost stories are like romance stories. They're kind of different. But yeah, oh wow, it's 8 o'clock. Started that late. Um, all right, I'm gonna go play some video games. Do we have any other topics we want to get to? Since I'm talking all over the place. Your app crashed. Yeah, I came home and I noodled on the guitar. I've been up since about. I'm always telling people time I get up in the morning. I've been up since about 4:30. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be able to do a show tonight. And then I was tired and I had a sandwich and I had a cup of coffee. And me and my homie were talking. Then I had a mic issue. Then I fixed that while I was like, he was monitoring on the other side. He couldn't hear me, but then I fixed it. I got you now. I was like, oh, great. But half half an hour, I managed to actually fiddle with the guitar, which is nice. I was working on my bar chords. Um, bar chords, right? Trying to get my hand to like fit that position really quickly, which takes me let's say, take me forever to do it. And I kind of got up to like, it was nice. Um, that's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. Bar chords. Because I'm telling you, when I used to obsess about politics, I was a mental case. Now it's music. Man versus wolves. How you remind me. I like Nickelback, but I don't think I know that song. Maybe I do. I didn't know that the title of it. I like Iris by the Google Dolls. Why don't you slide? Like that song too. Slide. Also by the Google Dolls. Cat Stevens. I gotta buy a new guitar. That electric is done, but it's fun. It's the it's their first big song. How you remind me. Oh, how you? Oh, I thought the name of that song was "This Is How You Remind Me." That makes sense. Never made it as a wise man. Never made it as a blind man. What do you say? Stealing? Yes. That song is great. I love like back in the 80s, someone introduced me to long-haired rock bands. And like I used to watch like DJ Ralph McDaniels, who I met, if all you New York City kids know who that is. And we like rap music and Run DMC. But this guy around the corner from me, this one of the few white kids in the neighborhood, um, and we were on the verge of like all black. Like our neighborhood was like all black with a little bit of white people. Then there was a neighborhood with a little bit of black people, and then there was another neighborhood with all white people. Right. So we had this weird buffer thing, and he turned me on to like Rat. Right. That band. What's that band? Round and round. Love will find a way. Just give it time. Right. That's what like it was just blaring guitar. I was just kind of like, why is their hair like that? Everybody had on black um t-shirts that came down to here. I was like, and I had never even seen a t-shirt like that. I was like, why is everybody got the same t-shirt? Yeah, yeah. And since then, I just love like rock bands, right? And it's weird because I sort of had like a context of music and like black music and Chuck Berry and 1950 stuff that my dad listened to that I was seeing like American Bandstand. I'm like, oh, rock music, yeah, yeah, okay. But to me, rock music, I don't know what I thought rock music was. I just thought rock music was Elvis, right? And then I'm like, I want to say 11 or 12, and they, yeah, was D. Schneider with the curly hair, Twisted Sister, and some of those songs were great, like Sister Christian by Motorhead, right? All these songs where you're just kind of like, oh, it's not like a big haired circus of knuckleheads jumping up and down. This song is good. Why do I like this song? And then, it started my love affair with like just making sure that I listen to all music to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Even at this late stage in my life, I'm trying to learn music, right? Uh, but yeah, and all that rant started out of "This Is How You Remind Me." Slide guitar is hard. I've seen dudes do that with a bottle on their finger. I figured that's just way advanced stuff. I figured I'll be doing slide guitar in like 20 years. No. Leader of Men, another song I may not know. Yeah, Rebel Rock. I figure people need to realize the sound of a slide guitar and finger styling country blues. Agreed. Finger style and country blues. Um, Wait, what am I thinking of country blues as? Because I'm not thinking of like who do I like? I know who Dwight Yoakam is. I don't know any of his songs, but there's that song. Would you would you consider that a country blues? Randy Travis. Is it Randy Travis? I'm gonna love you forever, right? I love Bonnie Raitt. Is she a country singer? I don't know if she's blues. Cause it's weird. Cause I don't like um I guess we would call it avant-garde blues, right? Like somebody on a horn going. When I was 19 or 20, we went to the BB King's Blues House, Manhattan, uh, and we had to wait and pay money to get 2 drink minimum. Ooh, we all had to get dressed up. We looked, and they were trying to educate me on this music, and I was just kind of like, and then the drummer go. I was like, I don't know. And no one sang, and I was just kind of like, and that's the thing. You got to prepare people. This is a new experience for you. This is what it's sort of gonna be like. Watch it, keep an open mind, and then after the end, let us know what you're gonna think about it. Versus, oh, we're going to a blues club. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hear a band. I mean, and mind you, I was a young dude. I hadn't been exposed to like, well, I had it's I was exposed to a lot, but yeah, I'm like, the kind of blues, like, is it jazz? We're talking about jazz. Do you know the kind of jazz I like? Because I think that's jazz too. That in what do they call it? Not instrumental, improvisation. It's not improvisational. Avant garde. I want to call. I don't know. But like, there's a jazz from 30 Rock, right? The guy who they have do that music. I was like that like the opening theme song is a jazz thing, right? I think the composer is actually the husband of the Liz Lemon character. But that whatever that genre of jazz music is, I haven't found a name for it. I'm gonna be all over whatever bookshop that sells it because it's it reminds me of a fucking cloud. It's just big and it's moving it just made you go, oh yeah. Versus I was like, oh well, okay. I guess this is interesting. How high do I have to be to enjoy it? And how long does it go on? Right? The guitars are like I'm like, okay, I get it. It's so slow but just good. Jazz is all over the place, quick, slow, moody, but saxophone. Yes, I love uh, well, I love woodwinds and brass instruments. So I love clarinets. I love saxophones, um, high piccolo. Yeah, yeah, I love all that good stuff. Music, man. I got introduced into slow guitar by some flatmate I had once who had be playing Eric Clapton song "Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight." That is freaking awesome. I wish I knew guitar people. I think my guitaring would take off. But my homie, who I've known for 30 years, plays guitar. And when we lived around the corner from each other for all the time that we knew each other, I did not take uh, him up on having him dig out an extra guitar because he's got like a bunch of them and noodling around with them. Right? I was too cool or too insecure or whatever. And now I'm just kind of like, fuck the world. I'm gonna embarrass myself on the internet with bad guitar playing because I can't take it anymore. Right? So that was my break. But 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been doing this. I was like, that last election, I was just kind of like, you know what? Fuck all these people. I should be happy. I deserve happiness. Right? I need to be better. And then one day I was like, I've always had music in my head. I wonder what it means. I wonder if I could write a song. I wonder if, how long it takes to play a guitar. And then I remembered this kid who was just a monster at it. He must have been like 11 or 12. And then I thought, you know what? Kids don't know shit, and they pick up everything within a year, right? So when they're born, they don't do anything, but within a year, they're walking, right? From that toddling point of walking to running is a right, and then you put them in school, they don't know how to read or write, and within a year or two, they can fairly decently communicate. By the third year, they're writing like sentences and a structure. By fifth grade, which is supposed to be 5 years old, first grade rather, supposed to be 5 years old. You're getting a homework, and so I'm like, so whatever I can learn, I don't have to relearn how to walk and stuff. So I chopped it down. It should be 3 years to learn an instrument and be right. That's where I'm headed. That's the plan, and it just solidified almost immediately. And high on the idea of it was good for me with this. Even if I'm horrible and I never write anything, this is better than pills or Theraflu or whatever. Telling you, Theraflu. I mean, but what do they give you when you unhappy? Prozac or right? I mean, maybe if you once painted and you like to go back to painting, maybe if you once, you know, I mean, it's hard to do team stuff. Like I was a high school, this is why it's good to have an inner life. Like I'm still trying to write a story out in my head I should really freaking get on that. But it's either that or you can sit and like watch celebrities get married and get divorced and get married and get divorced again and have an opinion on it like it affects you. Or you can watch these politicians after knowing full well they do not care about what you do. You can go, well, I know you want my vote, and that's what you really want. Me and my vote's gonna be over here painting, and you can go kick rocks. Um, Luckily, we're in a place where a lot of people feel that now, but I think that should always be like your, a go-to move of removing yourself from the bullshit, from the ridiculousness of these people, right? Because they've always got a new thing you should be worried about or afraid of, a new group to hate, and they're always going to be your champion. So give me your vote and give me your money, and then as soon as the election's over, they go and do the same corruption they always did, and you're out here with no health care and a shitty boss, and you have concerns about this, that, or the other needle shot or whatever, and they don't care. The one thing about America is you need votes to stay in office. So my whole position is let somebody go nuts. Yeah. If let the Democrats lose every election for the next 10 years, and let the Democrats, or vice versa, Democrats or Republicans, let them institute all kind of dumb shit that will just get this civil war started sooner rather than later. And you're all the people that everybody's looking for, right? And this is my thing. Maybe it has to come to a head. And it coming to a head could be as simple as, oh man, boy, did we fuck up. Like you know what? Like not all blow up arguments end in divorce among married people, right? Maybe it'll come to be like, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right, and I won't ever. And then the guy or girl never does the thing that where other people go, you said you promised and you fucked up, and now I'm done with you, right? So this is what's going on. I happen to believe that we, meaning black folks, should just be done. I mean, we've been treated poorly for 500 years. And for the last 80, we've been taking your daily promises to fix this bitch, and you can't even do that, right? Now people in your own party are rebelling against you, talking about Pete Buttigieg and Hillary Clinton. First of all, the weirdest thing I heard was Hillary Clinton and Dick Cheney. I was like, they're in different parties, and everybody hates the both of them. The person who floated this is an idiot. How is he making money in politics? Ah, my God, it just doesn't make any sense. Uh, if I am your ASPCA director and my plan to get people to adopt dogs is to shoot them into people's front windows with a cannon, don't you think people will go, yeah, you're not good for this, you're an idiot. You keep failing at the job that we gave you. This is them saying Hillary Clinton and Dick Cheney should team up and run for 2024. I'm like, you're not, give me your pen and your fucking typewriter. You are banned from writing about anything, much less politics. Get the fuck out of here. But Hillary Clinton, shut up and get out. That should be it. You've had enough. It's kind of like drinking in a bar. All right, just take your glass. All right, you've had enough. I think that what's ridiculous. I think that I don't even have anything super ridiculous. I was gonna say, I was gonna say that Hillary Clinton should win the Nobel Prize. That is fairly fucking ridiculous. But I needed something super extra ridiculous, like and Hillary Clinton should run for president again. Is what I was trying to have. As ridiculous as that sounds, I couldn't come up with anything. These are the people that no one in the country wants, and you keep putting them up. And at this point, you're not talking to us about this. You're talking past us to other people. Hey, give us your money. Maybe Hillary Clinton will come by. Like these are what you call kites. We used to call them kites in the police department. Um, just to see if anybody liked the idea. Hey, what about a bicycle unit? Bicycle unit? Everybody's like, and then someone goes, I used to have to walk on 180. I would have loved to have a bike detail. And then before you know, you have a bike unit. And they're always put where there's no crime. Like they put where that you can keep a presence, like around like the not the museum mall because that's in the heart of Manhattan, but somewhere like a walkable place like a park or something. You'll see like cops in shorts on bikes sitting talking to people. That's a good look, by the way. A lot more police departments should have it, but their look isn't to enforce. I mean, you're a cop. You're always enforcing the law, but it's not to like look for arrests, right? If you see somebody drunk, you cite them and you arrest them. You call a squad car. The squad car, those guys in a whole bag, as we call it, put them in the squad car and take them off. You're really there to just, oh, you're lost. Well, you gotta want to go that way. Oh, can I take a picture with your officer? Oh, wow, officer, you have a horse. That's awesome. Can I take a picture? Yeah, that's what that is for. It's not to like get into a police pursuit on your fucking horse. You know what I mean? Just like the same thing on, and people would steal these cops' bikes. I just, man, don't even get me started. I just don't think anybody knows how to. Look, the job should be inspiring. I don't know. Hey, Brian, long time no see. Happy New Year, motherfucker. How's your Friday going, man? Uh, I hope you're good. So yeah, what time is it? Woo, woo, 16 minutes. All right. Yeah, Banner Lord. That might be it. I'm having all kind of. You're still getting home. All right. Uh, Coffee and a beverage. So I apparently stopped drinking, and I don't drink soda. But I went to a family event and I had a Mountain Dew because they didn't have a ginger ale, which is well, normally I drink ginger ale when I do drink soda, and now I'm doing like addicted. Not really addicted. It's only like my second case addicted to Mountain Dew. I went and picked this up today, and I looked at the Diet Mountain Dew. I was like, diet, and this is what I don't get. Just don't look. You like the poison, drink the poison, right? I don't get decaffeinated coffee either. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing here? You feel me? I'm trying to stay awake and write this paper in there, right? But why am I drinking coffee without the? All right. Whew. Excuse me. Um, on the road again. It's coffee, as we say in Brooklyn. Kawfee. Coffee. Or Fehy. Coffee. Yeah, Country Road. John Denver was a killer songwriter. Country Road. What's that song he wrote for his wife? It's got a woman's name. Some Ellen song. You fill up my senses. You fill up my senses. Those songs, man. Even as a little kid, I knew those Annie songs. Thank you. I knew those songs were good. And how old were you when that song was big in '73? Well, I must have been like 5. But you're just kind of like, as a little kid that that's a good song, right? And like songs that your parents like. I remember my mom dancing around the kitchen and singing songs to me. Remember that? When you were that small, those nice moments are gonna disappear like tears in rain. Oh well. The age of the father is over, boys and girls. Whole society is collapsing. No one's getting married. John Denver would do with half as long hair as the Beatles. No, by the time John Denver got famous, the Beatles had cut their hair. I mean, Paul McCartney was in Wings, right? Well, actually, he had fairly long hair in Wings. I mean, you might be right. His hair is long now. That dude has been famous since he's been 17, and always a nice dude. Never saw a picture of him yelling or screaming or threatening anybody, doing anything stupid, driving fast, punching people. Right? Always of anybody in the world of the last 100 years to be a rock star. He absolutely deserved. You know what I mean? Not deserved it, but like was called to be a rock star. Wait, what do we got going on in the chat here? I mean, John Denver had the better song, "Leaving on Jet Plane." I mean, Willie has so many better songs. And Kenny Rogers, yeah, I think he died at like 38 in a plane crash. He was a big proponent of marijuana long before marijuana activist, and he was bold enough to discuss it publicly when all these rock people who were doing it kept their mouths shut about it. Right? You got to. I mean, you gotta give guys who'll take the heat, the slings and arrows for what they believe and will stand up in the public square and go, I believe that it should be jelly and peanut butter, not peanut butter and jelly. And everybody goes, what the fuck? Savage, get him out of here. And he goes, that's what I believe and I don't care. You gotta respect that. Because some people are making jelly and peanut butter sandwiches and eating it in the basement while the rest of us sit in the sun with our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like dilettantes. All right. Oh my God, I'm getting punchy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That Leonard Skinner plane crash story is just fucking ridiculous. So apparently, that's not funny. People died in this plane crash. Um, people. I mean, if I was a rock star, the first thing I don't want is a plane. And if I did have a plane, I want to know who's flying it and why. And no fucking games, right? So the pilot took off, and he came back and tried to buzz the group, apparently, and hit the bus and jackknifed the plane and killed everybody in the thing. Let's look it up because we don't want to be wrong. How do you spell Leonard Skinner? What the hell is a Skinner anyway? Skinner. Who was Leonard? And I have to think about why people's bands are named what they are. All right, let's see. Peak plane crash, hiatus, return, members changes, and deaths. 96 to 2019. Okay, 64 to 73, that's 9 years. Then 73 to 77, they're peak years, which is 3. And then there was a plane crash in 77. All right, so let's look at this plane crash. Following a performance at the Greenville Memorial Auditorium in Greenville, South Carolina on October 20th, 1977, the band boarded a chartered Convair CV 240 bound for Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where they were scheduled to be at the LSU scheduled to appear at LSU the following night. After running out of fuel, the pilot attempted an emergency landing before crashing in a heavily forested area 5 miles northeast of Gillsburg, Mississippi. Really, was it running out of fuel? I heard a totally different story. But it had just taken off. After running out of fuel, the pilot attempted an emergency landing before crashing in a heavily forested area 5 miles northeast of Gillsburg, Mississippi. Ronnie Van Zant and Steve Gaines, along with the backup singer Cassie Gaines, Steve's oldest sister, assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, pilot Walter McCrary, and co-pilot William Gray were killed on impact. Other band members Collins, Rosington, Wilkinson, Powell, Pyle, and Hawkins, tour manager Rob Eckerman, and several road crew members suffered serious injuries. The accident came just 3 days after the release of Street Survivor. Following the crash and the ensuing press, Street Survivor became the band's second platinum album and reached number 5 on the U.S. album charts. Yeah, people are so fucking sad. But at the same time, you know, ugh, if I leave here tomorrow, 96 of present, 96 of that. So this is the current lineup. Yeah, that's tragic. But at the same time, why would you not check planes for fuel? I mean, how do you, they ended a gig, right? I mean, I'm driving around in my car, occasionally glancing at the speed, not the speedometer. I look at that too a lot, but occasionally glancing at the fuel gauge. How do you not know that your fuel is low? All right. Sweet Home Alabama. I usually try to make kaya sandwiches. Kaya means weed here. It's a Malaysian coconut jam where Steve Buscemi was in the cockpit of a plane in Sweet Home Alabama plane, and he was like, "Isn't it ironic that group of men on a plane listening to a song by a band that died in a plane crash?" Yeah, the altimeter. Wait, why are we talking about the altimeter? I don't buy this story. I heard a totally different story. How did SKY and Skinner die? Because I want to say in the rock and roll documentary by the guy who did the the guy who did the blues documentary and the country music documentary, the Muhammad Ali documentary. What is his name? The Civil War documentary. What is his name? Ken Burns. I thought Ken Burns mentioned. I mean, looking it up at on Wikipedia, it can be altered or Oh, his name was Artemis. Artemis Pyle. His name is Artemis Pyle. Drummer Artemis Pyle. The Strange Tale of Leonard Skinner's Plane Crash. The Frontman Prophecy. Ronnie Van Zant was a famed frontman of the group, but also had an eerie gift of foresight. Van Zant missed the 27 Club, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, etc., but that didn't stop him from predicting his death to come before he turned 30 years old. Despite the death of their lead singer, itinerant Leonard Skinner still tours to this day. Itinerant means homeless. So they're just wandering around singing an album from like 80 years ago. That's the magic of songs, people. You don't have to work at Walmart if you had a song when you're 19 that people. Ronnie Spector just died, and she was singing that "Be My Baby" song for 80 years, and that song is a banger, right? Oh, won't you be my? Those are the songs my dad dated my mom to. You know, those 50 teen tears on my pillow. That my house was full of those songs. But now, what are you gonna grow up to listen to with your parents singing? Wet ass pussy. Oh, we met to this and we had our first romantic dance. Wet pussy. Okay, all right, guys. Just it's the environment is so fucking stupid. It really is. It doesn't make any sense. I never dreamed. What is this? Van Zant needed reinforcement on tour, so he called JoJo Billingsley, who was the lead singer of the Honkettas, and asked her to join the band on tour. In an interview a year later, she said that night I had the most vivid dream. I saw the plane smack the ground. I saw them screaming and crying. Ooh, that's not good. A janky plane on their flight to Greenville coming from Florida. The plane managed to get into the air, but barely. Who booked you this plane? Your record company? The plane managed to get into the air, but barely. Before the flight even took off, the band was unimpressed with its condition. It was 30 years old, and when the pilot guided the plane down the runway, a loud bang was heard from the starboard side. A backfire sounded like a gunshot was followed by a 10-foot stream of fire trailing off the right engine with sparks flying. Then why'd you get on that plane? If from the way they're describing this, no one would be on that plane. The plane eventually leveled at 12,000 feet, and after several minutes, the fire extinguished. This sounds like bullshit. Who's gonna? Yeah, okay, it'll probably go out. Yeah, I had this is the first time I'm hearing this story to the fire extinguisher. The plane kept on flying, and to everyone's relief, it made it to Green. Aerosmith almost bought the plane from Leonard Skinner's plane crash. You just said the plane was a giant piece of shit. Now all of a sudden, Aerosmith almost bought. Oh, for God's sakes! This is what I mean by bad purchase. Talking myself right into it. Trouble with the engine, free falling. Yeah, yeah, okay. Who wrote this? This sounds January 15th. Richard. Okay, so you have photo credits from photo by Richard Aarons, but you don't have who wrote this article. If I can offer you any bit of advice, anybody who does not have a byline, don't fucking take that shit seriously. This is trash. This article is trash. It could have been written by anybody. All right, I guess that is it. Let's check the chat before we cruise out of here. When Steve Buscemi was in the cockpit of a plane and Sweet Home. Oh, right, we just read that. Uh, what did you hear, True Armor? What do you mean, what did I hear? Every now and then I hear weird stuff come from the other room, and I'm like, I should really get my gun. Um, but my gun's in the other room next to where the bad guys are. I hope they don't touch it. Ugh. Um, all right. Oh, I heard the story of right. I heard the story. Let's go check. What is his name? I just mentioned it. He did the Civil War. Ken Burns. Ken Burns. Rock and roll. Rock and roll documentary. It's not on. It's on PBS. All his shit is on PBS. It's never on Netflix. Rock and roll documentary. Skinner. If you leave here tomorrow, a film about Leonard Skinner at Netflix, a remarkable rise and tragic fall of Leonard Skinner. Come on, cut off. There you go. All right. The remarkable rise. I could have sworn maybe it's another band. I don't think. I think. Let's just write what I heard. Did the Leonard Skinner plane hit the bus? Period. That's Wikipedia. Why did the Leonard Skinner plane run out of gas? An actual translated board determined that the probable cause of this accident was fuel exhaustion and total loss of power from both engines due to the crew inattention to fuel supply. The fucking idea of it is amazing to me. Um, I could have plane crash bodies in trees. Ooh, I gotta tell you, man, bodies in trees. Ooh, not awesome. A plane crashed in Park Slope, Brooklyn, and like did the did the Skinner plane hit the bus? The truth behind Leonard Skinner plane crash, the rescue, the aftermath. All right, for me to find this, I'm gonna have to do a lot of digging. Um, I'm already almost falling into it, and I'm like, I gotta, I gotta talk to you guys. So yeah, this is why my head is full of weird facts because I'll go ooh, and then I'll look for shit on it for about an hour and a half. Um, I heard that it hit the bus. Bodies in trees. Ugh, horrible idea of that. All right, so I guess that's it. Now I just feel bad. Um, their tour bus. The plane was like parked on like a dirt runway next to like their tour bus and like, it was in the country. It wasn't actually and I heard they got up and then the dude did a U, but they're saying, oh, he came back because he was trying to land because the plane had no fuel in it, which is legitimate. But dude, seriously, you have one job. I mean, how do you not have fuel in your plane? Right? It's not like you can pull over at the next cloud and wait for a tow truck or some shit. It's amazing to me. All right, I guess that's it for me. It is Friday. Yeah, I already did a loop. I'm desperate to find this. I can look for it for another couple of minutes because this doesn't make any sense. Hold on. Let's do this. I got to get another window open. That's why I wrote. Did it hit the tour bus? Did the Skinner plane crash into the tour bus? But that's a YouTube video. Where did the plane crash? Remember the land scan, some bike went down Gilbert, Mississippi. Ran out of fuel. I mean, at least normally they go, this is what happened, but a very popular misconception of what happened is this, and that lie began to be propagated somewhere. Then you go, oh, that's how that lie came into effect, but they don't even acknowledge it. Yeah, and then you have to get it from the truth behind grunge. You're right. Let's see. According to writer, experienced several different names for the band. Da, 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 da. According to six of the Leonard Skinner found themselves out of fuel. On October 20th, the Convair 247 to the one picture departed the airport at Greenville, South Carolina at 4:02 p.m. After being filled with 400 gallons of 1% octane low lead fuel. Linda was headed for Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the next concert. Mercury gave an ET of 6:45. We're low on fuel. Huh? I guess it was a lie. All right. What? Oh, wait. First of all, who are these people? I'm taking their word for it. Jane Mackle Collins, December 31st, 2019, at 1:21 p.m. The last day of 2019. All right. You go, girl. Uh, let's do this. Let's kill that. And we wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, children of all ages, I want to thank you for coming. I hope that you will follow me over to Twitch, like and subscribe. We're going to start doing this thing at about 4 o'clock, I've decided, to about 7. We're going to play video games and talk shit with a wider font than this. And on the weekends, I'll cook your dinner. So like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Woo! And be part of the team. I hope if you come through here, you'll pick up an instrument. That'd be nice if we get like a squad of people just playing whatever they want to play. The Sunday service, I have been lacking. I have been lacking and slacking. We're gonna move that back to. You know what? This whole thing was supposed to kick off next Friday. Maybe we'll do Sunday service next Friday. But yeah, so video games coming this week. Like and subscribe. Um, yeah, and the thing about that Malaysian 370, there was no debris field, there was no oil slick, it was just gone, right? I mean, if a government shot it down or they would have did something with the people, and nobody's gonna kill 300 random people, right? And even if they did, no one's gonna keep that. Well, not no one. But if you had 100 people, it's gonna fuck with somebody's soul, and they're gonna have to talk to somebody, and you know what I mean. This is why people go, "Oh, they blew up those World Trade Center," and I'm like, "Oh, for God's sakes!" So you're telling me that first of all, 2 or 3 guys couldn't have done it; it would have taken a whole team. So you tell me no one on that whole team, 25 years later, 25, 22 years later, would have been like, "Yeah, we dropped a bomb on 3,000 of our fellow American, us government officials, and I don't feel bad about it at all." The idea of it doesn't make any sense to me. Just because I know people and people can't keep their fucking mouths shut, right? If I did the thing and nobody knows I did it, and there's a penalty for me doing it, like they say, let's say I bonked somebody over the head for their purse or whatever, and then that person died and nobody knows it was me running away, I'm gonna keep that secret until like what do they call it? You have a crisis of conscience, and you have to tell your preacher or somebody, and you go and because that happens, not a lot, but that happens. You're telling me there's none of those guys killed 3,000 Americans by blowing up a fake bomb so you could go to war? Really? No one. It's not gonna leak anywhere. Everything leaks. So yeah, it doesn't piss me off now, but for like the first 16 years, hearing people say that would make me fucking crazy. It really would. One of the worst days of my life. I still have fucking nightmares about it. Don Lemon said it went into a black hole. Don Lemon's an idiot. Ugh. There was a weird one. I heard about a Kento Bento YouTube vid. Apparently, there was an incident where some Japanese student went on a Japanese airline flight recently-ish, and they held a plane hostage with a samurai sword. Yeah, that sounds about some ridiculous, right? This is what happens when you don't have guns in your country. I'm taking this whole place hostage. I have a paper clip, right? Then you got to get people there to deal with him because he's got a paper clip. Here in America, everybody and their mother has a gun. I was watching not watching. I was listening to some song on the radio, and they mentioned Switchblade, and I chuckled to myself because like nobody mentioned or raps or sings about Switchblade since like the fucking 50s. All right, Switchblade. It's a modern rap song too. or pop song. Let's just say that. I forget what it was, but I was like, Switchblade. You pull out a Switchblade, someone's gonna blow you away with their AR-15. Um, all right. South Korea made a South Korean airport look like a North Korean airport because the students on the plane were trying to hijack the plane to get to North Korea. That guy, I mean, and then there's also like mentally ill people, right? People do that. Then and not then there's people who aren't mentally ill. They just make bad decisions, right? They are not tactically sound thinkers. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I just ran into North Korea. Like that guy who sold the poster and they killed him in North Korea. They sent him to jail for 30 years and then they let him out 5 years later on a stretcher. He was and they had apparently took stuck needles in his eyes. They blinded him and he was just fucking yeah. He managed to last a year and a half in a North Korean prison. And we were letting people go there. You could take trips to North Korea. And then they stopped. I was like, why were you allowed to fucking this country, man? Oh, I swear to God, if the raptor shows up and Jesus shows up and somebody goes, hey, I give you $50 to steal Jesus' sandals. Trust me, somebody's stealing those sandals because people are fucking stupid and greedy for pointless reasons. But my child, I'm God. Do you know the effect this will have on your everlasting soul? I don't care, man. Run them sandals, right? Jesus will show up, same story. Here come the IRS. You know you owe us for this golden glistening horse. You know the society doesn't make any sense for the shit that is going on here. You're not educating the citizenry in a way that is serious because trust me, we're gonna have to deal with like some of these other nations. And I mean, I like our chances on the battlefield, but this is not the battlefield. This is a classroom, and the last thing a lot of these people wanted the classroom, and those who do go to classroom look to be like in bed with the professors and all this other like goofy, stupid stuff. So now you have to question if they really know the stuff to lead you, right? Or if they were just a fun time girl for somebody. And that's every place. You can swap out the girl to make it gender neutral and racially relevant. Did they pick you because they need a black guy, right? I need somebody who knows the law. So just like I need generals who know war, so the Chinese aren't here doing X, Y, or Z, or the Russians, since what's his name left with a giant suitcase full of stuff, right? But you don't want them in that position just because they're someone's son and someone's cousin and someone's homie. And then when the shit hits the fan, remember Brownie? You're doing a heck of a job, Brownie. Remember that guy? He was an equestrian. So if that hurricane never came through, we never would have known. God bless him. He'd have been on. But we're at the age where the unforeseeable shit is all over the place, and you need people who at least know what the hell is going on. Yeah, we had a hurricane, and this guy, George W. Bush, made the head of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, supposed to be a response. He was essentially a donor to the Republican Party, raised a lot of money, and they made him the head of FEMA. You're doing a heck of a job, Brownie. And then they go in for that term, then you never see him again because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Embarrassed himself and us on a world stage. I mean, look, you like horses and you want to raise money for your political party that's perfectly legitimate. You shouldn't end up in government for it. If you're running, I want to be this. I want to, what? Arrest them all. They're all bad at this now. And we are all going to fucking pay a price. Excuse my language. We're all gonna, gosh darn it, pay a price. All right, that is it for me. Oh man, this has been a long one. Uh, we got on, I want to say, at 7:15, and now it's 10 to 9. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. There will be one tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna do one tomorrow. I had to take Wednesday off, man. Woo-wee. But today's Friday. I want to wish you guys a happy weekend. We're gonna try and do this. We're gonna bring back the Sunday session and a couple of other video things that I used to do that I kind of sort of miss doing. There aren't an hour and a half relegated. They're more like the old one used to be a nice truncated bit of goodness. Oh, that's right. It is Saturday there. You see, you live in the future. So if you could just give me lottery numbers, that'd be great. But the thing for you'd have to, because this happened to me when I went to Australia. I went there and I lost a day. I was in the future, and then I came back and I had two Saturdays. I left on a Saturday, then I came home, and it was Friday, and then it went into a Saturday again, and I was like, the quirkiness of like this nonsense. I'm speaking from the future. I mean, different countries, different lotteries. Yeah, gosh darn it. Ugh. So close, so close. Can you imagine? I'm from the future. Oh my God, how far? 5 minutes. Don't eat that, it's spoiled. You're like, "Puh, you're right, you are from the future." Uh, there's my skit for you. New Zealand is smaller than the US dollar. Oh, goodness. Okay. Everybody uses the. I wonder why we even call it the dollar. I mean, there's a lot of British stuff on YouTube. And like I watch these people, and like we'll say, "Man, that thing cost me $20." Right? You know what a buck is. I know what a buck is. If you're, you know, but I'm sure other places have that. They were like, "It's a quid." I was like, "What is a quid?" I was like, "Is a quid a dollar or a pound? And is a pound a quid?" And they had all these like colloquial names of like money that I had to look up and go, "What's the exchange rate?" And apparently, the exchange rate a buck to a pound is like for every dollar you get a pound is apparently a pound. I want to say is 70 cents. So it's like for every pound, like it's let's say a pound is a dollar, then a dollar will be $1.20. What is the exchange rate for a dollar to pounds?
It's 73 pence.
Wow. So now it's lower. So it's 73 cents on the American dollar. That makes more sense because we have a bigger economy. But when I was doing this before, I was like, why for every dollar I have to give $1.25 of the exchange rate? That doesn't make any sense. We're the bigger buck. Yeah, forget about it. Um, the U.S. Postal Service doesn't ship to New Zealand. Why not? I'm still having an issue with the USPS not shipping to New Zealand. Why don't they ship to New Zealand? Excuse me. Because apparently the USPS freaked out when New Zealand had recent Delta. Okay. This is because of the pandemic. How are you not shipping to people? Man, I think the problem is there's so many old and infirm people in our government that's why. That's just my opinion, right? Like Harry Reid just died, but like Pelosi, Biden, Schumer, they're all really old and really, you know, they're the demographic that it could be bad for. Uh, but we'll see what it does. Yeah, there's a big list of countries they can't ship to. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but I'm sure other people will be happy to pick up the slack, like Amazon and FedEx and all these other. Oh my gosh. What about a homie? Have it shipped to a homie and then have him ship it to you. That gets around it, right? Learned that trick from my Caribbean homies. Yeah, I can see that. Ain't got no friends to get that done. Oh man, that's not right. Um, huh. That sounds weird. There's got to be a fix. There's a fix for everything. And like I said, America would take money for anything. So there's got to be a fix. There's got to be a private shipping company that would do it. But that private shipping company would probably, like I'm thinking like in the movies where somebody go, I had this piece of bologna shipped in from like Madagascar. You're like, ooh, bologna. That kind of like goofy nonsense. I had a strawberry ice cream shipped in from Maine, Alaska. Ooh, here we are on the fucking moon or whatever. Um, yeah, shipping to New Zealand right now is weird. Yeah, I think everything right now is weird. Oh my gosh. What I need, I don't see. My thing is, I like to go in and fiddle and touch stuff before I buy it, and you increasingly can't do that. And now with the pandemic, everybody just buys online, and it's like, okay. Like I need a gaming chair. I had to buy it, well, not sight unseen. It was a picture of it online, but I didn't get to touch it or sit down in it and go, what about that one? I like, man, maybe this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Goddamn, this tiny island in the middle of nowhere. Now you can't do that. Period. The guitar you want to touch might have COVID. That's true too. Yikes. Yeah. Everything. Look, be careful. COVID's right behind you. Ah. Everything's just a fright fest. Man, my sister got it. Man, out of the blue. Just kind of like, what in the world? It's like everywhere. It's everywhere. I've been lucky, knock on wood, but it is fucking everywhere. All right, that is it for me. I'm gonna go play video games now that the conversation got all serious and spooky. I gotta shave my head. Where's my head shaver razor? Uh, I gotta fix that desk over there. It's gonna be an interesting weekend. It's gonna be a fucking what is it? The 14th. It's gonna be a pretty good week. It's gonna be a pretty good week. It's supposed to snow here. Like I said, the first day of the new year, it was 78 degrees, and it's been slowly falling apart ever since. Oh wow, it warmed up. It's 42 degrees. 30 degrees tonight. 31. Da, 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 da. Okay, so yesterday was a cold. Oh no, Saturday is going to be cold. 33 degrees as a high. And that's next Saturday. Tomorrow, yeah. Oh boy, yeah. I'm not even trying. Um, Don't even think about buying groceries. Other people who might have COVID have fingered that before not buying it. Yeah, yeah. When it first came out, they were like, "Hey, don't worry about it. It'll be gone by spring." Then, "Hey, don't worry about it. It'll be gone by summer." Then, "Hey, don't worry about it. It'll be gone by spring." Then, "Hey, don't worry about it. It'll be gone by summer." Not even fucking around. It's ridiculous. All right, I have said goodbye 5 times. This time, I mean it. Take care of yourself. Thank you for coming by, Possible Probable. It was good talking to you. William, as always, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Am I forgetting? I'm forgetting Brian, who hopefully is home and chilling. And Let It Be, who's always good seeing Let It Be in the chat. So yes, everyone please like and subscribe. Um we were talking about Saturday being the music day. I really need to learn this bar chord because it is not coming. Yeah, it's this whole this pinky, not this pinky, this middle finger, right? And this whole E, yeah. Can you see that? This is what I'm looking for. I'm not getting that. I'm getting just this whole mangled of whatever. Yeah, it's not good. But I figured tomorrow I'm gonna do it for like 3 hours. I was thinking about doing it on stream for 3 hours and locking in the bar chord. But it's sense memory. They call it uh what is it? Auto memory, muscle memory. But sense memory works too, because you get the sense of where your hands are down, up, and down front. Yeah, it's sense memory is fine. Do we want to look up to see if that's an actual word? All right. What is sense memory? What is sense memory? Sometimes this thing does not work. What is sense memory?
Here's an answer from theorgroup.com. Simply stated, sense memory is the remembering by the five senses of the sensory impressions experienced by the individual organism in everyday life. These impressions are stored in the subconscious.
All right. That's half of it. They're talking about everything. Good Lord. All right. I'm going to have more coffee and a piece of giant. No, am I going to have coffee? I'm not going to have any more coffee. I just had a soda. I'm going to have some water. How about that? Oh my God. My ice water is room temperature. First world problems, man. Go to war with somebody over shit like this. Awesome. All right, baby, baby. I am out. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope to see you tomorrow because I'll be here. Uh, but still trying to work on the timing, but like I said, I think it's gonna be like 4 to 7. So I can get some international viewers and I can get some local views, and we're gonna try and make this streaming thing a thing. No coffee, no coffee. Yeah, we're gonna be having soda. So Sohda. No, that's soda a. Uh the OH soda. Yeah. Yeah, right. Pop. What is it? Pop fizz. My my father's from the south, and I think they called it pop. And my mother's from a southerner south, and they called it fizz. The stories my dad tells about my mom when they were young is like, oh my goodness. Like he makes it sound like she had no sophistication. But he's from like a small town too. That's the ridiculousness of my family. Everybody's ridiculous. Oh my God, they're so funny. I just gotta call them. It's the weekend. Call your parents on the weekend, guys. They love you. You love them. They love to hear from you. Um, every time I call my parents, they're off doing something. And then it takes them like 4 days to call me back, and I'm like, "What? Were you at the club?" It's so ridiculous. I love those two ridiculous people. All right, those crazy people with their milk bags and syrup. Yeah, the Canadians. Dang it. Do potato chips and chips have different names in U.S. and Canada? Um, Potato chips are potato chips. But fish and chips are a British thing, and I think those have potatoes. But generally, we call chips French fries, right? And I think they call it crisp. We don't call anything crisp. We describe crisp if we want bacon crisp. But yeah, we're all very, very weird. They call an eggplant an aubergine. I'm like, why is it named French? I thought you guys hated the French. Uh, no, not here. America likes to do its own thing. We're still on the freaking imperial system and not the metric system because the whole world said, "Hey, let's do it this way," and America was like, "Yeah, no, fuck you." So now America and like three other places like use the metric system, like North Korea, one place in Africa, and America. It doesn't make any sense. But you know what? Such a big population keeps it around, makes other people have to use it. All right. Like if we were like as big as, you know, I don't know, Haiti or something, no one would care. Right? But people are like, well, they make TVs and put shoot shit into space. But here's the thing, all that shooting shit into space is done on metrics. Yeah, don't even get me started. When I play video games, like my car, you can either have it in kilometers or miles per hour. And I'm like, why the hell would I need kilometers here? Uh Maybe if I sold my car in Arab, you can put in kilometers. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. All right. And again, we're gonna say goodbye. It is 9:05. We have been streaming for 2 hours. And we're supposed to just hop in here for a few minutes and go play games. I do like talking to you. Uh yeah, once we do it later, we'll be able to do it for a few hours and then crash out. If we do run long, we'll crash out around 7:38, and we'll have done like 4 or 5 hours of talking smoke, playing music. Uh, yeah, only two. Yeah, thank you, Let It Be, for coming through. It's good seeing you. Have a good weekend. Possible, probable. Have a good weekend, man. Don't let them get you down, though. Some people won't understand you, and that's on them. You know, greatness doesn't need a defense, right? And the thing about greatness is you know how good you are if you can recognize it. Remember that. Some people have to be told something is great and they miss it on its roll around. When other people go, I knew that was going to be a game changer when I saw it. And that's what it's about, my homie. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one. Next one's tomorrow.